Welcome to another edition of Healing Headlines from the Hound Healer. I'm Jody Miller-Young. Today, we're tackling natural infection busters. When your dog or cat comes down with an infection, be it a cold, cough, ear, or eye infection, you have natural options you can go to. Here are some of my favorites. Echinacea is an herb that's been around for a very long time. The Plains Indians used it to heal, and we were introduced to it in the late 1800s by a traveling salesman named Joseph Meyer. The plant is called the purple coneflower, and it's native to right here in North America. I've been using Echinacea for many years on myself, my family, and my pets. For our dogs and cats, giving Echinacea is very useful at the first signs of an infection, whether it's a cold, a cough, a yeast infection, for healing wounds, sores, and the like. Being a detective for our pets means noticing the details, the finer points of their behavior. And that includes the first signs they give you that they're feeling off. This is when you begin giving Echinacea, but only give it in response to symptoms it can help alleviate, and only for the period of time needed to do that. Then we stop and we save it for the next time we need it. But we never want to keep boosting the immune system artificially, even with a natural do-no-harm herb like Echinacea, and here's why. Prolonged immune system boosting artificially creates an environment where the immune system stops responding to the booster. It's like it's become desensitized to it. So now let's look at how to give Echinacea to our pets. Now, I use the tincture, but it also comes in capsules and an herb. But I use the tincture, preferably with glycerin as the base, not alcohol. Now, you can buy this on Amazon or in Whole Foods. It's pretty easy to get. You mix between 12 and 20 drops in water, and you give 3 times a day until the symptoms resolve. And go on a scale of your dog's weight, 12 drops for the little ones, like the Chihuahuas, and maybe 10 pounds and under, and then you judge up to a bigger dog. But an important note is if you find your dog or cat has a reaction to the Echinacea, just stop. Some may be sensitive to what's called antigens in the herb, which simply means the pet's body doesn't recognize the Echinacea ingredients as friendly and creates antibodies to fight it off, like an allergic reaction. But once you stop, the reaction goes away, and most dogs and cats don't experience that. Also, if your dog or cat has a disease that triggers an immune response, but you're not exactly sure why that response is triggered, Echinacea could aggravate this, so just beware. The next herb I use to bust infections is Goldenseal. Goldenseal is a perennial herb commonly found in the deep woods from Vermont to Arkansas. It received its name from the golden yellow scars on the base of the stem, and when the stem's broken, the scar resembles a golden wax letter seal. But that little factoid is just the tip of the iceberg for the benefits of Goldenseal. It's an antimicrobial, like Echinacea, but it's also rich in alkaloids, which has anti-inflammatory properties, is an astringent, an anti-parasitic, and stimulates the liver. Wow! Goldenseal contains the chemical berberine, which helps fight bacteria and fungi. For example, it can prevent the bacteria E. coli from binding to urinary tract walls. Berberine also has properties that can lower blood pressure and improve irregular heartbeats. When I called Goldenseal the great antimicrobial, that's because it can be used for so much. For example, with digestive disorders, it helps resolve inflammation in the gut and stimulates the appetite. I've used Goldenseal myself for this purpose. It's used in ear and eye washes for yeast infections, the common parasite Giardia, tapeworm, kennel cough, colds, flu, urinary tract infections, skin rashes, ulcers, wound infections, itching, eczema. I can go on and on. So how do we give Goldenseal? Again, I use a tincture, preferably a glycerin, not alcohol base. Give 5 to 10 drops mixed in water per 20 pounds of body weight, and only give 2 to 3 times a day. Stop once you see symptoms resolve. Prolonged use of Goldenseal is not advised, and as mentioned, using too often and for too long can also result in toxicity. As an eye wash, you add 10 to 20 drops to a saline solution and apply a few drops into the affected eye 2 to 3 times a day until resolved. And you can also use the dried herb boiled in water. Do not use Goldenseal in pregnant, newborn, or hypoglycemic dogs. And also beware, because Goldenseal stains bright yellow, so if you're using topically, it can get on things. Other infection busters you can use are Manuka honey, which is an antimicrobial, which means it's antibacterial and antiviral, and it's also antifungal. There are 3 components that Manuka honey, unlike regular honey, possesses. One is methyl glyoxal, or MGO. The next is dihydroxyacetone, DHA, and the third is leptospirin. These ingredients make it a more powerful antimicrobial and antifungal and allow it to treat bacteria, viruses, and fungi in our pets and in us. You can use Manuka honey for immune system support and skin infections and wounds, gut health, oral health. It's been shown to combat oral bacteria leading to bad breath and gingivitis, and more. But all Manuka honey is not created equal. There's even a grading system to denote the more powerful healing properties in the honey. It's called UMF, or Unique Manuka Factor. What you want to look for is a higher than 10 plus MGO factor. Below that, and the healing properties are not powerful enough to do the job we're looking for. So how do you feed Manuka honey to dogs and cats? Start out small, increasing gradually. Like with any other sweet food, don't feed to diabetic dogs or cats. But if your dog or cat is not diabetic, you can give a half a teaspoon twice a day for small dogs under 20 pounds, 1 teaspoon twice a day for a medium dog, 20 to 60 pounds, and 2 teaspoons twice a day for a large dog, 60 pounds and above. But again, start small and work up. I'll conclude with 3 other tips for treating infections in our dogs and cats. Raw garlic can be fed to your dog, but not to your cat. Garlic is extremely toxic to cats. Don't feed to your cats. For dogs, it's a great antimicrobial, a great natural biting insect repellent, like fleas, ticks, mosquitoes that transmit heartworm and parvo. We feed our pups about 1/3 a clove of garlic each in their breakfast every day. Even living in year-round flea and tick-infested South Florida, our dogs don't have fleas. Maybe once in a blue moon I'll find a flea on the dog. I flea comb them, which is also a good practice regularly, but it does the job. Ginger can be fed to dogs and cats, and it's ginger root that we're after. Ginger is a great stimulator in the body, causing conditions to move faster through the system. That's why we use ginger to help move nasty pathogens out. It's also great to ease an upset stomach. It can be given in tincture form, capsule, or dried form. You can put a few drops of tincture mixed in your pet's food. Generally, giving ginger on an empty stomach isn't advised, as it could cause an upset. And you can sprinkle some ginger root powder from a capsule on their food as well. And you can brew a ginger tea and give some that way. If you're doing in capsule form, give 1 capsule of about 550 milligrams of ginger root for every 20 to 30 pounds of body weight for a dog or cat. But I would start slowly and work your way up to this. Some cats and dogs don't like the taste. It's a bit strong. And if you give too much too soon, it can cause an upset. So go slow. Another powerful tool in your kit is one that costs nothing and can't be purchased in a store. The happiness protocol is just that. Giving your dog or cat love, attention, and the other things they need to thrive. For dogs, That means time to sniff around outside. Maybe a snuffle mat where they can forage for food or treats. And for dogs and cats, enough playtime with their best friend, you. Studies have shown that the happiness protocol is real. The endorphins created when your dog or cat is getting what they need emotionally affects their immune system positively, making it stronger and more resilient. There are many ways to address infection in our babies without running to the vet and administering suppressive antibiotics. These are a good start. That being said, if your dog or cat is very ill, always go to the vet or emergency room. It's better to be safe than sorry. And if you find your pet isn't responding to these natural protocols, have them checked out by your vet to make sure nothing more serious is going on. I hope you found this edition of Healing Headlines helpful. This is Jody Miller Young of the Hound Healer. Until next time, to their health.